Welcome to Bible Thoughts, and I'm here to talk about something that's topical. I just read in the news that Minnesota finally gave in to let people join in congregation together of I think about 250, up to 250 residents, or sorry, individuals. I'm sure they have to keep social distancing still and not sit close together. Of course, that'd be ideal. But hopefully they're staying safe and wearing masks still. As for me, as I said, I am living in South Korea. We are still all wearing masks. It's a constant concern that there might be another spike, like the one we just had in a club and bar district. And so it's definitely serious. It's nothing to play lightly about, take lightly. And I wanted to share some of what the Bible says about these things, because I know a lot of people are eager to just join together in church, and they think that's the right way or only way to have congregation, to have church. But as a Christian, we know that the Bible does not say that. Church is when two or three or more are gathered together. I am with them. Jesus says that, and so if you're together with your wife and family at home, y'all can have church together, of course. If you're single, you can find friends who will be willing to take you in. Of course, you wear a mask and do the necessary washing of hands and such as you come into their home, um, if they allow you to. Of course, don't forget to pray over each other, of course. But yeah, there are safe ways to do this. And as for me, our church finally opened up its doors, I think about 2 weeks ago, but things are still on edge here. Since I work at a kindergarten, parents are worried and concerned, especially um, for teachers who have ventured out into public areas. So I had to sign a petition along with other fellow coworkers, teachers, to saying that we will not do that and we will keep safe, and so that their children are safe and they feel comfortable. So there's lots of reasons why we want to respect authority and listen to what they say. When they say it's not a good idea or we need to keep up social distancing, we should do so. And if we're not able to gather in a church building, you can gather at home. You can gather on your computer using Zoom. It's really useful for here. I know my church still runs the online sermon using Facebook Live. And so there's a lot of ways to communicate with people and to have service through all of the media devices that are available to us. So there are always other ways to have church, not only going to a building. And so we should definitely be careful about that. If your governor or authority figure says it's not a good idea, we should listen. As Christians, we should listen. Why? Because the Bible says so. And I'm going to take you to some verses that point that out. Some of you probably already heard this. I just wanted to touch on it briefly, but also make it a strong point that the Bible does say this. In Romans 13, 1 through 3, please bear with me. It says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resists the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise in the same." So if we do good by what our authority considers good, in this sense, with the virus, we're going to be seen in a good light. We're going to set a good example. If that wasn't clear enough for you, I'll take you to 1 Peter. I believe it's chapter 2, verse 13 and 14. "Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well." Of course, that's how governors worked long ago, but still, we have governors today that govern over our states and communities. So if they say it's not a good idea, we should listen. Set a good example. Don't make your church or your Christian community seen negatively, because then there will be more repercussions later. Consequences, of course, as the Bible tells us. And so since the Bible is telling us to respect authority and to follow that, we are to do that and find other ways to worship that are suitable for you. Now, it's really important that we set a good example. We don't want to be seen as the group of people who don't listen, who are foolish, and not putting others at risk. Even we would be Christians would be seen as a danger, and that's really not good. As a foreigner in this country, there's been a little bias to develop due to the bar and club district that got infected. There were many foreigners involved in that, and those foreigners also taught at schools. And so there's been a lot of bias from the Korean community against us, against foreigners. And even I had to go to the doctor recently just for sinus infection in my throat, and I was really nervous. I didn't know what to think, but the doctor did ask if I went to those areas and stuff. So no, they have a right to be concerned, but I don't want to be seen as a bad example to other foreigners, so I make sure to wear my mask always. I am always careful, washing my hands, of course. I'm doing what is necessary. So, because that's what's required of me. And it's respectful to those around me. And that's another thing. When we talk about the people around us, those are our neighbors in a sense. And of course, we know what Jesus said about our neighbors. And if you're new or unfamiliar, I'll take you to Matthew 22. Some of you probably already know this, and that's fine. But no, it doesn't hurt to have a few reminders. All right, it says that Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. That's the greatest commandment. The second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. So if you love yourself enough to not get sick, we should not go out without a mask and potentially risking others to get sick, because that's not loving behavior. That's putting others at fear and you being selfish, and that's really something we should not do. Selfishness is a tough thing to deal with as Christians, of course. It's the thing we battle with every day, including myself, with other things, not just this, of course. And so we need to be considerate of others. That's what God calls us to do, to love others, to love our neighbors, to love as we love ourselves. I don't want to get sick, and so I should feel that way with others. I don't want them to get sick. I'll do what I can to protect them and myself. So it's very important that we do listen to authority. So if you're at home in America or in another country and you're really eager to get out, or just frustrated with social distancing or isolation, quarantining yourself at home, just try to think outside the box, try to think creatively. What are some other ways you can worship? What are some positive ways that you can go about yourself, whether you're going out shopping and stuff? Make sure you have a mask or some masks. I know in America there's a shortage and you have to make your own. Have fun doing that and make your own, and do what you can to keep others safe as well as yourself. So I just wanted to encourage you to, as a Christian to other Christians, that we should follow what the Bible says and set a good example for others. So thank you for listening, and thank you for joining me on Bible Thoughts. And stay tuned, and please subscribe and click that bell for any updates that I'll be posting soon of some more videos. See you then. Take care.